All right, we're live and back with another episode of um, musical sightseeing. What number is this, Ali?
Ooh, 12?
12? Maybe.
12?
12,
13?
13, I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
Anyway, we are back traveling to Russia today. Very exciting. Joined by a special guest. I'm Athananos, co-host with my friend.
Hi guys, I'm Ali.
And I guess before we introduce our guest, just quick housekeeping, right? Number one, follow us on social media. We'll post, some exclusive content for the song list, etc. Number two, uh, if you're new, right? Remember on Spotify, the songs are only going to play fully if you have the full Spotify membership. Recommend you get it because it's better. But if you don't, you can listen to the songs some other way.
Spotify's got to sponsor us,
Yeah. And
man.
then, am I leaving out anything?
Mm-mm. I think we're good.
And we're good? All right, so now I'll turn it over to our guests to introduce themselves.
Hello. So my name is Paula, and then
Hello, I'm Daria.
Hi everyone, I'm Nick.
and we're gonna talk today about the Russian music and sort of the maybe Russian culture in general related to the songs we're gonna talk about.
So like our goal today is to like show modern Russian history and culture through music, and we're going to cover a wide range of songs that represent different generations and social layers of Russia. I don't know.
Yeah, well, we've picked a range of different songs that we feel will best represent different generations throughout the last couple of decades, and yeah, we feel like the music really reflects on what kind of music were the generations interested in.
Yeah, and we feel like this applies to all Russian-speaking people. We're going to try to focus on Russia specifically, but yeah, this applies to all Russian-speaking people.
And I think this music just kind of it's quite broad in the range of the songs we chose, but it shows how it reflected us in like all of the generations who listen to this music. So I think it's quite an interesting choice of quite different songs.
Yep, so if you guys don't mind, could you just list down very quickly for us like what we're gonna be listening to today?
So we have the first song is going to be by a very famous Russian artist, Viktor Tsoi, and he's kind of when was the sort of peak of his?
Yeah, it's like
Late
from
80s?
80s, like
Late
80s to
80s,
early
yeah.
90s. I mean, like Victor Soy is the main artist, but the band itself is called Kino.
Yeah, and his songs are so influential. They're listened to by generations now. So even though his peak time was like late 80s, as we said, they keep being like played now in the 2000 and 2010 and so on. And then the next song we picked, the next artist is the sort of from a Russian. Well, in Russian you call it
It's a
Russian
pop scene.
estrade,
Pop
yeah,
scene,
Straight.
yeah.
pop scene. But we wouldn't really say it's like pop because when you think of like British pop, it's a whole different
Well, it's
genre.
that 90s pop when you think of something like
Yeah,
It's like
if you think of
Soviet Union, end of
ABBA,
Soviet
ABBA,
Union.
something like ABBA, that kind of setting,
yeah,
but
actually.
the vibe itself is a bit different.
Right.
Right, but we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah, and then the next is Morgenstern, which is like you might have even actually heard of it because it's quite popular, I think, abroad now as well. And I think it's the typical sort of popular modern Russian artist.
Yeah,
Um,
a lot of young people listen to this music.
and sorry, and yeah, his songs are. We're not going to talk about like the meaning behind the songs a lot, but it's just the most popular, one of the most popular artists. And then the next two are Miyagi and Skriptonit, and they're just, I would say they're quite like specific artists. They're not popular for everyone to listen to, but they're still popular for specific groups of people, and their music carries more meaning, and it's just very interesting for us as well.
Yeah, now we're talking. It's more modern than the songs before that. So it's the stuff that came out within the last, let's say, 5 6 years, maybe even newer. And yeah, that's the kind of thing people listen to on a daily basis. Different, completely different vibes, sort of very interesting.
And just the last song it's actually a mix of like a older group, B2, B2,
Yeah, it's like it's a mix of rock and rap, and I mean it's the rapper is my favorite artist, so yeah.
And yeah, it's just the mix, and it's quite it's a nice song. I think you're gonna, even though you're not gonna understand the meaning maybe behind it when listening to it, the rhythm of it is, it's very nice, and it carries I think quite a lot of nice meaning, and it's a mix of older generation and newer generation in one song together.
Nice, nice. So I guess before we listen to the first song, I know you guys wanted to address, you know, the current events,
Situation.
the
Yeah.
situation. I mean, it's hard to you'd have to be living under a rock to not know,
Yeah.
you know, what's happening. But I know you guys have a few words that you wanted to say. So
Yeah, I mean, obviously we are recording this while there's still war ongoing in Ukraine, and we are obviously against violence and war that the Russian government has done.
We just sort of want the focus of this podcast to be about music and not just Russian people or Russian politics in general. We might bring up some topics because some of their songs are related to politics, but it's not the focus. The focus of this podcast is obviously the music, but we just want to let the listeners know that we are acknowledging the situation, and obviously we are against the war.
Yeah, like Musical Sightseeing is a podcast that's designed to celebrate culture, to celebrate, you know,
yeah,
different backgrounds. And so we hope that, you know, whoever's listening to this episode can be able to, you know, treat the episode with kindness and know that this is just meant to be a celebration of culture,
Yeah.
and that it's
Yeah.
irregardless of politics and irregardless of current events.
this is definitely not Russian propaganda.
Yeah,
Definitely
definitely.
not.
Also, it's obvious that Russia itself is multicultural, and I mean, all of us have mixed backgrounds as well. Like, I personally have Ukrainian background as well, and like, and some of the artists that we're going to mention today, they are also a mix. It was hard to extract just the Russian people. There are some nations, ethnicities mixed, and I think that's also really important to remember.
Yeah, whatever many people can say, I feel like the Russian culture at its core has always been promoting this human values, and so the music that artists create, it's mainly addressed to, you know, help people get through their problems and so on. So we'll get to that in a minute when we listen to one of the songs. I'd like to mention it again. So there's a really deep area of how do I put it? So there's a common knowledge, not even knowledge, but perception that Russian music is predominantly very sad. But it got really deep roots to that. So, and if there are people who analyzed and researched it, they made like whole documentaries about it, and it sort of reflects on how people deal with their problems, with their daily struggles, and how music helps them get through that.
Amazing.
So you want to listen to the first song?
Let's do it.
Please tell me if I'm saying this right. Хочу перемен.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
very good,
yeah,
actually. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
You're taking the lead of all the words today, Afton. I'm not even gonna try.
I think there's some English titles that you can do. All right, let's take a listen.